Why is it important to dress and present well in business?
I always refer to dress how you want to be addressed.
Welcome to the Tomorrow Is Not Today podcast. You've already started to create the life you want just by being here. Designed for you as a business professional so you can be physically, mentally and emotionally healthy, more productive, less stressed and living a life you truly love. My name's Kingsley and thank you for coming on another journey with one of our uniquely qualified professionals.
Welcome to the Tomorrow Is Not Today podcast. In the studio today, I have Michael Hughes from Weyridges. Michael, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
And I'm excited about today. This is a podcast that I've wanted to do and a subject I've wanted to talk about for a long, long time. But getting somebody who is an expert in their field, who lives this and does it all the time, is not always easy. So we were introduced by someone else, which I'm very grateful for, good old Juan. And since just hooking up with you, as much as it hasn't been a lot recently, it's been good to see what you do, how you operate, and the fact that you can help a lot of people that most of the time those people are going to go, no, that's not for me, I can't afford it, or I can't do it, or whatever. So today we're talking about fashion, largely men's fashion, looking, presenting good, and being confident in any aspect of life, really. So, Michael, tell us a little bit about, I'm going to start off with a big one. Why is it important to dress and present well in business?
That is quite an important question, and it is a big question. Oftentimes, I guess, I always refer to dress how you want to be addressed. It's a very old quote.
Okay, yep.
Yeah, dress how you want to be addressed.
Explain that a little bit.
So, say if you're going to an event, let's just say a black tie event, and you wore your best pair of board shorts and a singlet, walking into the ballet where everyone's wearing tuxedos and black tie, you're not going to be addressed very well by the people at the event. They'll be wondering, who's this guy? Where's he come from? Whereas if you wear appropriate attire to the event, like a black tie event, you'll be addressed as a distinguished guest coming to the event. So yeah, dress how you wish to be addressed. And it goes for the same when you're even just walking down the street. So I remember I used to work in the city. I started in men's retail, managing menswear stores, but I'd ride my bike into the city and I'd be a sweaty mess, riding my bike there. I'd take my suit with me, but when I'm in my shorts and my t-shirt, dripping wet and sweat, no one would look twice at me. Like, they would not make eye contact, just like a sweaty guy walking down the street. But when I wore my suit, once I had a shower and got changed and I was at work, I was wearing a snappy suit, like, people would look past me like, oh, I like your suit. Oh, that looks great. And that instantly, this is how you're addressed. So you address how you like to be addressed.
I like that. That's a great definition. I like that saying too. I'm gonna steal that one.
Yeah, put that in the magazine.
Oh well, yeah. So that makes me lead on to, because we're talking, most of our audience is business professionals in some way, shape or form. Now, not everybody's going to be wearing a suit. Not everybody's going to be, dressing up like that on a regular basis. A lot of people are, but there's other people who it may be some chinos or something like that and a nice shirt, and often around the Gold Coast where we live, a polo shirt is actually pretty dressed up quite often. So it obviously does vary. But if people are going in for a presentation, like a sales presentation, or if they're trying to get a deal over the line or something, do you think that the way they present themselves has much of an impact there?
I think this dressing appropriate for the occasion also applies as well. So I do think you could overdress in a situation. So say if you'd done some research on an office that you wanted to work in, and none of them wore ties at all, ever, and half of them were in polo shirts, half of them in button-up shirts, and you come in wearing a three-piece suit with a tie bar, everything, like, you're going to be a bit overdressed for the occasion, which may work in a negative effect, being overdressed. They may think you're a bit of a tool for going all out. Whereas, so I think it can go the other way as well. So being aware of what you're dressing for when you're going into those situations, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's take a scenario like that. because I do a lot of work in the real estate industry as well, and one of the big questions, the never-ending questions, is how should I dress in real estate? And I know you've had a lot to do, and you've made a whole ton of suits for a lot of real estate agents. And you've got people, obviously, some might work in Double Bay in Sydney, they work in the city in Brisbane, or some of the nicer suburbs, New Farm, Bulimba, that type of thing. And then you've got someone that works in Warwick. So give me an idea of how you would guide people in various scenarios like that.
Yeah, I guess it does vary from areas like you said. Like, so we have agents that we dress that work in the city, and they are in suit and tie every day. That's just what they wear. But then we also have agents that out in the suburbs, which wearing a suit can be quite intimidating for people in the suburbs, whereas they're not used to it. In the city, there's people in suits everywhere. But in the suburbs, they dress it down a bit. They'll still wear a nice pair of pants or chinos and a button-up shirt. And then they'll wear a suit jacket for, say, a presentation video or for their photos, for their professional photos with headshots. But then you get people out in Warwick where it's no one wears suits out there. Yeah. Half of them probably don't own a suit. So that does make it a little bit more difficult for them. But I don't think you have to wear a suit to be professional. As long as you're, dressed well and you're, clean, tidy, facial hair's nicely trimmed, nice haircut, you can get away with wearing a nice pair of tailored trousers and just a nice basic button-up shirt, whether it be short sleeve or a long sleeve. I don't think it would matter when you're in a place like Warwick, where even just wearing something that isn't like your Bingtang shirt that from your Bali trip, and your board shorts, I think you'll be fine. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, now it's interesting because that's a big question that people deal with, and I know you've had a lot to do literally making the clothes or the suits for these guys and girls as well. So at the moment where at the recording, this will come out in probably March, early April, so we're moving into the cooler months, autumn, winter, that type of thing. So if let's have a little bit of a look through the various seasons and what to do. Let's talk a little bit about colours to start with. Now, obviously, different seasons have different colours that seem appropriate for that particular season. What sort of colours are we looking at as we come out of summer? We're moving into sort of more to the autumn, winter times.
Yeah, well, I guess your spring, summer colours, they're obviously a lot lighter, a bit more lightweight. You really go light colours, like you get like a not light, like I'm wearing actually. Yeah, like a beige linen. This is a linen cotton jacket, so it works well in spring, summer.
Yeah,
all your lighter colours. But in autumn, winter, the weight of the fabrics generally get a little bit heavier. In Queensland, it's not super important to get a heavier fabric because it's not that cold.
No, it's not.
It's really not that cold. But even more to the colours that you're wearing today, like with the slightly darker trousers, a little bit heavier fabric as well. There's warmer colours. They work really well in the autumn, winter. Mm-hmm. We are a bit lucky in Queensland that it's a nice temperature pretty much all year round. Yeah, it is lovely. But I like the colours like the browns and the light tan colours that you're wearing are a really nice colour coming into autumn, winter. There is the odd day that's cold enough to put on the overcoat. It's very, very rare, and it's normally off by like mid-morning anyway.
Yeah, that's right.
But it is such a nice touch. I do wish it was actually a bit colder so we could get away with layering up all those beautiful colours and garments. It would be amazing.
Yeah. I love watching the guys on TikTok, like the European colours when they're doing TikToks and stuff from Europe. It's just, I love it. I love it.
Yeah, it's such fantastic. A good look. Yeah, wish it could.
So what happens, like, let's say you want to get, it is winter, autumn type thing, and you want to get a bit creative with your colours, go a little bit brighter for people who that's more their personality. Is that a wrong thing to do, or is that just your personality that's fine?
I think traditionally, back in the day, it was the wrong thing to do. You don't wear those colours in this time, or you don't wear that colour shoes and that with that suit. But those days of like having the right or wrong thing to wear, I think they're kind of past us now. It's more just the personality type, whether you like bright colours or you like darker colours. I think it's just up to the individual now. There's not really a set guideline. I mean, you couldn't really wear a pink suit to a black tie event. Yeah. I mean, you probably could. Actually, I think I've probably seen that, actually.
Yeah.
I think there was an event. I think I saw an event the celebrities went to. I don't know what event it was. Yeah. It was some outrageous suits there, and 10 sizes too big as well. Yeah, so all those rules are broken anyway. So I don't think there's a set rule.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then summer things tend to be, like you touched on it before, but is it a bit brighter type colours, you think, sort of in summer, winter type time? Or is it, what seems to be happening is every year it's like, okay, this colour is going to be in for this autumn, or this colour for this spring, or whatever. How does that always work? And what's important with clothes in different seasons like that?
Yeah, so those colour trends that come out at the moment, it's like a really light tan. Oh, what is it? Do you know the name of that colour is that came out? Okay, it's like a really light tan.
I know what you're talking about, but I don't know the colour.
I can't remember the name of it. But it's like a light beigey, tan, sandy type colour. Those colour trends, they didn't generally appropriate for like things like weddings. They tend to follow those colours a lot.
Okay.
Especially women's wear as well. They like to follow those colour trends a lot. The men's wear is a bit more off to the side. It's almost like a free-for-all for whatever you want to do. But
Yeah, right.
But in saying that, the marketing behind those colour trends pushes clients to want those colours.
Yeah.
So the male's like, oh, that's the colour. And then they see all the girls wearing it. And then they're like, I want to suit that colour. So we get an influx of people wanting those suit colours based on the push from media or social media of other people wearing it.
Okay.
As opposed to their own personal preference. They just want to follow the trend. So the trends definitely influence them on how they dress.
So where do those colours, like what's in, where does that actually come from?
I actually don't know what design house decides what colour it's going to be that year. I'm sure it's some European design house that decides those colours somewhere along the line. Yeah. It's probably a good thing to look into to see who is the person making these decisions.
Yeah, and is it one place or one person or whatever, how it actually happens? It's an interesting thing. It's one of those questions that, and does anybody really know, or is it a combination of different things anyway?
Yeah.
So, it's an interesting one, though.
Yeah, I might look into that, actually.
Yeah, no, definitely.
See where it comes from.
And let me know. I'm quite keen to find out.
I quite like the colour
comes
trend
from.
at the moment, though. It's definitely one of my favourites. There's always been those like lighter browns, lighter colours.
And is that where we are now, or is that moving into autumn, winter type things?
I don't think that's just the colour of the year, I think. I don't think it
Right,
was a
okay.
seasonal one. That was just like the year's colour.
Yep.
But for autumn, winter, like if we look at the wedding space in summertime, that there's a definite change between summer, spring, summer, and autumn, winter when it comes to colours and weddings. Spring, summer is like a light tan, beige colour. But then autumn, winter, you start moving into like your black classic tuxedos. You get a lot of that. You get a lot of dark green, emerald colours as well.
Okay.
Yeah, through in the spring, summer as well, but also leading into autumn, winter. I wore a green suit for my wedding as well. I thought it was a good choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
It seems to be becoming more and more a popular colour.
yeah, I'm actually finding it's starting to die off a little bit now.
Okay.
On the tail end of it. It's still
Right.
very, very popular, but it's on the tail end, and we're getting a lot of the classic black back. Yeah.
Okay. Like for everyday type of wear?
Now for weddings has been the big
Okay.
thing, yeah. Weddings have been black. For everyday wear, the pinstripe, the navy pinstripe is making a mighty comeback. It's,
Really?
yeah, with a vengeance. It has been the most requested fabric colour and choice.
Okay, so that's
yeah.
a blue pinstripe, not the black?
Not the black, no. There's a few for the black pinstripe, but yeah, the navy pinstripe has been the biggest request we've had.
Okay,
It's making a
interesting.
comeback. It's the power suit. It's coming.
Yeah. Well, I guess there's a lot of
Yeah.
that. When you look at politics around the world at the moment, there's a lot of that sort of thing
Yeah,
going
there
on,
is.
isn't it? Power suits and ties and things like that.
Yeah, it's cool. I love it. It's great.
Oh yeah, me
Yeah.
too. It's it's great. One of the things I love about fashion is it never stays the same.
No,
It keeps changing all the time. So now linen, I've been wearing linen for years. Absolutely love linen. You can't go past it. But it seems to be like this. Last year it seemed to me, anyway, I could be wrong, but it seemed like it became a big thing. And this year it's just like everyone is talking linen.
I think everyone's discovering linen for the first time, and I think men are slowly making a more conscious effort to dress better
Okay.
and just smarten themselves up a bit. And I think linen's that really easy go-to choice because it looks so good and it's comfortable to wear. So as soon as they wear it, it's like, well, this is amazing. Like, why would I wear anything else? So,
Yeah.
yeah. Like I get a lot of guys that wear the tailor-made suits that we do, but they also request linen pants and linen shirts for outside of work, because they know that that's just amazing to wear. And it's not readily available everywhere.
Yeah.
And especially in different colours. So, because linen comes in a lot of colours, but typically you only find a beige or a light tan colour in linen in pants or shirts.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we can do like a whole range of colours. So it's everything. Even this linen cotton one that I've got on.
Yeah.
So linen cotton, it doesn't crease as much because, linen can look pretty shabby. If you wear a shirt, it looks pretty...
It does. Like, I've got a lot of linen. I think I've got dark blue, light blue, mustardy colour, white, and some others in there. Pink, definitely got pink.
Yeah, nice.
All in linen stuff, but that's the thing, in linen pants, but it always creases and crushes when you wear it. Is that like a no-no type thing, or it seems like there's nothing you can do about it?
No, there's nothing you can do. That's just a natural thing that happens with the fibre. But when you blend it with cotton like this one, it puts more structure in it. So I've been wearing this all day, and it's
that's
like
still
it's not
looks,
creasy. Yeah, it still looks pretty respectable. It doesn't look too bad.
Yeah.
So you can get a bit more out of it. It looks a bit sharper for longer.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's good to know that.
Yeah, it is a good one to know, especially shirts. Shirts can look really, if you don't iron them for the first time in the day, they just look terrible.
Oh, they do. And even ironing them, it's really hard to actually get all the creases. You just can't get the creases out.
No, you can't. You just got to embrace it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, one of the big things I'm noticing I'm a bit of a TikTok fan, on TikTok is old school or old money fashion. Can you tell us a little bit about what that is and where it fits in with our culture here?
Yeah, I've seen a lot of that as well on TikTok and Instagram. There's a lot of talk about old money, and it's not referring to the fact that these people have old money in there. This is the way they dress. It's just a terminology they've used to dress in a certain way, which is pretty much like a Ralph Lauren look, really. Nice sweater over the shoulders, like tailored shorts, nice polo shirt or button up, Oxford fabric. It's just a smart way to dress. Like you're going to the polo pretty much is like how you would dress. Yeah, it's not so much the actual saying of old money. It's just
it's more the fashion style.
Yeah, it's
almost.
a statement they've made for that look. Yeah.
It seems like, from what I can get, and I really like it, because it is pretty much, often it's a linen shirt and maybe linen pants or whatever, or shorts, and it's just easy, looks comfortable, it looks good. It looks like it's sort of it's not a trend that comes and goes. It's just because I've seen photos where they got JFK dressed like that all the way, and lots of people dress throughout the decades.
Yeah, it doesn't change.
Still, yeah.
So that's the glory about it. It just stays the same. So you can dress that way and it just doesn't date. That's the best thing about menswear. Like if you get a nice tailor-made pant or a suit or a sports coat, you can wear that for 30 years. Like it just stays the same unless you're getting something really out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're getting a really bright color, then that might change. But traditionally, you can just wear that same pair of pants and jacket and shirt until they're just worn out.
So if we've got people watching or listening right now and they wanted to get some tailored clothes done, getting something like that sort of style, let's say, that's going to last them pretty much until it wears out, pretty much forever, to just be able to use, and it always looks good.
Yeah, well, that's a big thing we do as well. So we ask them, what have you got now? What do you wear? What do you like to wear? We can build like a capsule wardrobe within their wardrobe. So if we get a pair of pants that'll work with this sports coat or this suit that can mix and match with a different suit, so you can split it all up. You can make a dozen outfits out of 5 or 6 different pieces, which works really well.
Okay,
so and that style as well, so it doesn't go out of date.
Yeah, so it's always going to look good. You can keep it there, and it's going to, because quite often you do buy a suit or something like that, and it's a style and it looks fantastic for a couple of years, and then you realise that's just not happening anymore, and you can't wear it.
Yeah, I mean, there's colours like, I remember about 10, 12 years ago maybe, like really bright cobalt blue suits were the thing. I don't know if you remember that, but really, it's brighter the better. Like, brighter the better. It was just amazing. Everyone loved them. School formals, weddings, bright blue suit. But like now, like you show people that fabric and they're like, no, I'm not wearing that.
Yeah.
Like it dates. But if you stick to your like classic navy, you can't really go wrong. Like black, you can't go wrong. Charcoal, grey, like those things just stick around forever. Yeah.
So, talking about that, so you've got custom made, which is like what you do, tailoring, and you got off the shelf. Tell me the pros and cons of the two different ways.
So there is a big difference between the two. I mean, if you in proportion and you've got a pretty good figure, you'll fit off the rack and it'll fit perfectly. But then there is slight differences. So someone can look like they're in proportion, but they might have a little bit longer arms. Then all of a sudden, all the off the rack shirts and suits don't fit. So from personal experience, I love the shirts that are at some of these places, But whenever I put one on, they're 2 inches too short on the arms. I don't feel like I'm like massively out of proportion, but the shirts don't fit me. So I got frustrated with that. So the difference between the two is that one is made from your own personal measurements and made to fit specifically you, whereas the one off the rack's made to fit a broad range of people as much as possible, which of course you can alter to a degree, but it's a bit hard to add length onto sleeves of shirts
that's
and jackets.
right.
You can take it off easy enough, but adding it on makes it a little bit more difficult.
Yeah.
And other things like the posture, like your posture, where have you got one shoulder that's sloping more than the other, or or you're maybe got a little bit of a hunch in your back. Those things can alter how an off the rack suit will look as well. So it might not sit quite right when you put one suit on off the rack, whereas if you get one custom made, we can allow for those kinds of things when we make the pattern in the suit. So for instance, I've got a jacket on where I have one shoulder that's lower than the other. So there's a little bit of extra padding in this shoulder right here. Just to bulk it up a bit, so to make it look a bit more symmetrical and even. But most people wouldn't pick it unless you say, "Oh, I've done that." They'd be like, "Oh, yeah, you know what? I can see it a little bit there." But yeah, you wouldn't know.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and one arm's longer than the other because one of my arms is shorter than the other.
And so you make the suits, so it's gonna, and nobody's gonna know.
Yeah, unless you're looking for it.
Yeah. You'd have to be looking hard though.
Yeah. You generally have to look pretty hard to see those little changes. So
That's really cool.
yeah, so I don't fit off the rack. They just sit really strange on me. They just don't work.
Okay. So tell me, so that's a lot of good reasons. One of the big things, obviously, because the concept is that tailored's very expensive compared to off the rack. So what sort of, if we're talking sort of like for like, so because we want to compare like for like, what's the difference price-wise roughly?
Yeah, I mean, if you walk into a shop, depending on which shop you go to, you can get anything from $150 to, I've seen Tom Ford off the racks like $6,500. So, like you can go from one end to the other.
Yeah.
And same with custom made as well. You can go from a $600 custom made all the way up to astronomical amounts. Like you can get $10,000 Xenia suit. It just goes up from there. I think Savile Row starts at £3,000, like starting rate. Yeah, so that's like 6,000 Australian. So really the sky's the limit when it comes to that. But when you get brands, so like ourselves, we focused around a mobile operation so we could go to clients or office spaces and measure them up in their own home. Mm-hmm. We don't have a luxury store to pay for. So we were able to make it a bit more accessible for everyone. So our price point starts at around about the $1,000 mark, which is what you'll pay for a decent quality suit from a shop off the rack. But
so that's a full suit, pants and jacket.
Yeah, jacket and pants, Whereas if you go to a shop, you'll pay for that for something decent, but then you may still have to get it altered to make the arms shorter or longer or make it a little bit slimmer. And these things all cost money as well. So you end up costing more to buy off the rack. Plus you usually have to compromise on what you're getting as well. So say if you wanted a pinstripe suit, but you wanted the pinstripe to be a brown colour on a navy, you could walk around for weeks looking for that from a shop and you just won't find it. Or if you want a green suit with a red line through it, you're not going to find it. So you have to compromise on what you can actually come up with or find.
Yeah, because when you do go around just looking at the different shops, you've got to look at it. Do you like the patterns in it, the colours, all that sort of thing? Then you've got to have a look, does it fit or is it a different material? I don't like the material, all that sort of stuff. Like you said, and it takes a lot of time to do that.
It does.
Whereas you guys obviously have a lot of different materials, colours, all sorts of things that you can pick from. And also then how your buttons are. And these, what do you call the things at the...
Oh, the side adjusters.
Side adjusters,
They're great.
Side adjusters, do you want, like these pants have got two, and I've got another pair of pants in a suit actually that has got the one big long one, and how, everything can be adjusted according to what you want as well, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, that's right. And we get that request a lot. A lot of people don't like belt loops on their pants or the side adjusters. We can make them so they can pull an inch in on either side. So if you fluctuate in weight, we can make it so after a good Christmas dinner, you can just loosen them off a bit and you're good to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So all those little things we can touch on, especially like I got a client last week. He plays a lot of rugby and he has really big quads. So when he gets pants that fit around his waist, the thighs are just bulging, like he just can't move. So he has to get a bigger size and then get the waist taken into suit. So we can make that from the start with bigger thighs in it. So we can measure his thigh and then allow for room for him to actually move and still fit him. So yeah,
Okay.
things that he can't go into a shop and buy a pair of pants. They just don't fit him. So yeah.
It's funny, I learnt years ago, and this may not be for everybody, but for me, that it's often expensive to buy cheap clothes. One of the things, I remember when I first bought my first pair of R.M. Williams boots, I was in Sydney with my daughter. She was down there at college, and we were just walking around. I needed a new pair of shoes. So walking around the shops, and she said, go on to R.M. Williams. And I'm like, no way. So she said, just come and have a look. I said, I'm not spending $500 on a pair of shoes. It's just not happening. And so she convinced me to go in. It's your daughter. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
So we went in, sat down, and we're having a look around. And I'm like, these are actually really nice. And we sat down to try some on. And there's another lady came in, and she sat down next to me trying on some boots. And I had a look at hers, and I'm like, so are you getting another pair? Is this your first pair, or what? Or what's going on? And I didn't know what she had on was R.M. Williams because I was new to the whole thing at the time. And she said, no, they're fine. I've just had them for 11 years. I'm sick of them, so I want to buy a new pair. Like 11 years? And now hers were a bit more expensive at the time. This is years and years ago. I think hers were about $700 or something. But I'm like, 11 years, $700. They're actually cheap shoes.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
So loafers seem to be making a bit of a comeback at the moment. So, and I don't know if it's a European influence, if it's just how it is in Australia. Should we be wearing them, or is it a passing fad? Where do the loafers fit?
It's definitely a European influence, the loafers. I mean, back in the day, I used to wear them all the time. And I'd be like, what the hell are those? What are you wearing? Like, are your girlfriend's shoes? But those same blokes now are asking for loafers, and they want to find a nice pair of loafers. I think it's definitely come from that European influence. I think social media has played a massive part in that. And they just look smart, but I think they have their time and place. For work, I think a pair of loafers is probably not quite appropriate. Maybe if it was a Friday or...
So when you say work, are you talking about if you're wearing a suit to work?
If you wear a suit every day for work. But depending on the job, because if you're a real estate agent, loafers are great because you don't have laces. You're taking your shoes on and off all the time to go into properties, so they work really well. I reckon you can pull them off. If you wear socks with them, you can definitely pull off a full suit with loafers. If you're not wearing socks, it's definitely Friday after work, for drinks somewhere nice. I think if you do it that way, you can definitely pull it off. But traditionally, I like wearing a full shoe with a suit. So like a nice Derby or Oxford or double monk straps are always really nice of a suit. But I like to push the boundaries. I wear no socks, loafers with a suit, with a cuffed pant, which is like just a bit out there. I like to be a bit more fashion forward with it.
Yeah, and I love that. I love being a bit... I personally have a tendency to love European fashion because a lot of it I find... It doesn't quite match, but it looks really good somehow. Yeah. I don't know what it is, and I just enjoy that. Maybe that's a little bit of who I am as well. But the other thing is, and you just touched on it there, the big question is socks or no socks. That's the big debate.
I've actually been in a bit of a dilemma about that as well. As of late, I've backflipped on so many things recently.
But that's fashion. That's what.
Maybe it's just getting older. I'm not too sure. Maybe I finally saw what everyone was telling me that I've forgotten my socks. So, I mean, I didn't wear socks with everything, all my loafers, even my monk straps. I wouldn't wear socks with them because I've always had like a cropped pant or like a cuffed pant.
Oh yeah,
so I'd show like a little bit of sock or a little bit of heel on there. But yeah, I've kind of opted for wearing socks now, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah. Again, for the same reason, it feels a bit more formal and I feel a bit more appropriate when I walk into a corporate office at, like, say, financial advisors or solicitors, and I'm there with my ankles showing. I feel a bit silly.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah.
So you're going back to what we're right at the beginning of the podcast. You're sort of dressing appropriately for who you're seeing. So if you're going into a corporate scenario to fit a bunch of guys getting suits, you need to look the part with who they are.
Yeah, that's right. Like if I'm dressing them for their work purpose and I go in looking like I've stepped off a yacht with my loafers on, they're going to think, does this guy know what he's doing? Or
Yeah, gotcha.
I want them to feel confident that I'm able to do what they request.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's good. No, I like that, and it's these are sort of the topics, the discussions that come up regularly with people, and it's just good to sit with somebody who this is what you do and see what's going on, and the fact that you're changing with times and who you're going to see or the location or whatever's going on. That I think for the rest of us as well, we can get a bit better of understanding of how we can and can't or what we should and shouldn't do.
Yeah, and it goes back to that saying as well, like dressed how you want to be addressed.
Yeah,
So they will address me as this, I'm one of their equals or peers in that regard. So I dress that way because I want to be addressed in that regard. So, yeah.
So take me back for a sec. I should have asked this earlier, but what got you into the whole fashion, men's fashion in particular, but fashion side of things in the first place?
That's pretty funny, actually. So when I'm from New Zealand originally. When I moved over, I had long hair, and I dressed pretty much in just like ripped jeans and band t-shirts. Cause I played in a band and I had long hair, and I was just a bit of a mess, really. But then when I moved to Australia, I saw this land of opportunity. Like, it's just like everything was happening, and there was so many opportunities. And the first thing I had to do when I got here was find a job. And I had several interviews, and I would get shot down for it. You know, one blatantly was just said, like, you're not right for this. Like, they didn't ask you a question. He said I wasn't right for it based on the way I looked.
Yeah, wow.
And I was really sort of taken back from that because I was like, oh, what do you mean? Like, I was quite capable of the job. Like, I was more than qualified for it. But just the way I looked, he just judged me, and I was not appropriate for the job. So I was like, well, I need to change to get to make myself successful in this world, which is very different to New Zealand at the time. I needed to adapt and change. So went and got the haircut, got rid of the long hair, scrubbed myself up and put on a few nice clothes, and went from there. And then I just ended up picking up a casual job in David Jones, right in the middle of the city in Queen's Plaza. And I really got into it. I really got into like styling people and dressing them into nice outfits and making them feel confident. And then from there, I just got poached from brand to brand to brand. So
wow.
I think my second position was at Saba, Australian designer.
Yep.
Yeah, so I moved into there, and then I just went off from there.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, so it was a bit of a personal transition. Yeah,
a big transition.
Yeah,
and it's funny how that rejection actually had a major positive influence and created your career and what you're doing and helping so many people in that way. One of the words you mentioned in there is something I want to touch on a little bit is confidence. How much of an impact does the way people dress have on their personal confidence?
I think, well, if I didn't wear a suit and I walked in to measure someone up for a suit, I wouldn't feel very confident walking into the office in the first place. And I think it plays a massive role. It's like modern day armor, isn't it? It's like you wear something like that looks good and you feel good. So it's like wearing armor like back in the day. So you feel confident to walk in somewhere and say what you want to do and get done what you want to get done. I think it has a massive role in it. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's
huge.
It's interesting how it does make people feel different and present different and how they come across as a person. Michael, this has been great. I'm hoping what we've done, and I'm pretty sure we have, is covered a whole bunch of questions that people have, especially guys. Maybe girls will get their guys, hey, you need to listen to this. But questions that we sort of don't talk about too often, but maybe as guys we need to bring up some of these questions because it does affect every other aspect of our life as well. I think the way we dress, the way we present, the way our reputation is, how we come across in meetings or meeting people in general or whatever it is, and where to wear what particular outfit or whatever. Just as we close off, I always ask two people, and this is very different to the whole conversation, but the podcast, we talk about creating the life you want. So if I was to ask you, how do you, and creating the ultimate tomorrow is what it's all about, how would you describe what the ultimate tomorrow is?
Yeah, that's a really deep question, actually. Yeah, it can really dive into that one. And that's changed a lot for me recently as well.
Great. I love it.
Yeah, it's been a massive change for me as well. I mean, a few years ago, my ultimate tomorrow was, building my brand, building the business, you know, like, oh, what can I do here? What can I do there? Like build, like bigger, more. It was always chasing that more, that unattainable carrot dangling in front of my face. But then a couple of years ago, I had a little girl, so I had a little child. And then we've just got another new little baby now who's 4 weeks old. So,
Oh, wow. Awesome.
yeah, like that changed the whole perspective of what the ultimate tomorrow was. So instead of like chasing my own selfish goals, it became more about them and what my tomorrow would look like. So now the focus has gone from me chasing my own selfish desires to chasing a better future for the family, you know, like, and ultimately it's the same, doing the same things, but with a different thought process behind it, a different motivation behind it, I think. Yeah. So it's, I guess, just finding something that I love doing and then just doing it to the best ability I can. You know, I have an amazing wife that supports me in all of it as well. And I heard a great quote, actually. It was, you owe it to the person who believes in you to succeed and go out and do better. So, like,
really
she
cool.
believes in me, like, a lot. And I owe it to her to show her that, you know, I can do it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that's my big motivator now is, you know, just be the best version of you that you can be.
I love what you said just in there, that you find what you love. You're finding what you love doing, but you do it with a different motivation now and different perspective. I think that's so cool, and I think that's something that if people can pick up on that, what's the motivation, what's the perspective? You might be doing this, but what's your motivation behind it? Your real why, what you're really doing, what's really important to you?
Yeah, and that's the big thing. Like, my motivation wasn't right beforehand. It was obviously getting me trying to fill like a bottomless pit hole, just never filled in, like it was no good. Whereas your motivation's a big driver in what you do and what your tomorrow looks like, I think.
That's awesome. And the second question I always ask, which is a follow-on to that, is how do you create your ultimate tomorrow?
That's another really hard question. That's a deep one, yeah. How do you create it? I guess start by finding out what you really want to do with your life is a big one. I think writing down your goals is a big thing, like writing down what you want to do, what you want to achieve, and what time frame you want to do it, and not to like over promise yourself, I guess, that if I'm not here by this point, it's not going to be any good. Like, it's a stepping stone process, and you need to take every little step to get there in the end. There's no shortcut, unfortunately. I think just creating a strategic plan and taking each step to create the tomorrow you want, really.
I love that. Love it. Now, tell us, where can people find out? People might want to go, hey, mate, can you come and measure me up? I want some clothes. I want some advice on my styling, my fashion, or whatever it is. Where can people find you?
I think the easiest one is just jump on Instagram. Yeah, just Weyridges, just that.
So how do you spell Weyridges?
Weyridges. Sorry about the accent. I can't avoid that one. I tried to shake it off, but it's
that's not happening.
It's done. Yeah.
So just on Instagram at Weyridges?
Yeah, that's it.
That's it?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's the easiest way. You can just throw us a DM on there. And the website link's on there as well. But Instagram's good because you got inspiration of all our previous clients and what they've got on there. And
There's some great stuff on your Instagram.
yeah, there's some interesting stuff as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Michael, thank you so much for coming in and literally enlightening us on things with fashion, mostly with men. I know we've touched on. I know you do a bit of work with women as well, and you've made clothes for women as well. But I really wanted to hone in on the guys. One of the reasons is because guys have trouble often, in dressing well and presenting well and knowing what to do. And hopefully some of these hints and tips and things that you've said today is going to help with all of that sort of stuff and their confidence to be better at business and in personal life.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for having me here. It's been amazing. It's been
Pleasure.
good.
Thanks, Michael. Remember, create the life you want.